All right, good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com and the trading room for the last one of March 30th, 2021. We're coming to the end of March. And as usual, we do have Dave joining us from the Strong Market team. So welcome, Dave. Good to see you this fine Tuesday.
Morning, Dan. Morning, everybody.
Happy new week. We started off yesterday with lots of interesting things and they're keeping it going today. So, hey, good morning, Curtis. Good to see you. Make sure I get my chat window open here. There we go. You can see me, hear me. You're good to go. We have some interesting internals. They like the zero line today. It started off with
it for a while, yeah.
Looked like it was going to go negative, then it's popping back up. And these are a little bit bigger bars than usual that we already see happening.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But the volume is hovering right around zero. It's maybe taking a little peak up here. So we see that reflected in the futures market as well, where quite a bit of whipsaw volatility action going back and forth, where it looked like it was trending down. We just had a fairly decent move up in almost all four, I believe. The most one was the ES there. Bounced right off this little support level after trading below it just slightly. So always keep an eye on these levels that we have on our charts. Andre's at the door, so we'll get Andre in here. Yeah, definitely a move to the downside overnight we were seeing. And now, of course, what's always on the headlines, people are talking about the Treasury bills hitting a 14-month high, so we'll touch on that. But I like the next one. As investors await another infrastructure push, as if the last stimulus bill wasn't enough, they're already awaiting the next one.
Right.
So figure that out. But yeah, across the board, nothing real crazy. They're always talking about the pandemic fund, what's changing there.
Yeah. Well, investors are always and trying to anticipate what the next thing is, you know.
Yeah. Interesting how it's like almost a double standard where they're saying, hey, the vaccine's doing great, but hey, watch out. The CDC chief is literally like scaring people because the numbers scare her. So it's like you have both things happening at once.
Yeah.
The fix is working, but scary things are happening.
Yeah, she was kind of alarmist. I mean, she really came out and she said some scary stuff.
Yeah, weird. And then, of course, the trial is going. If you're living under a rock, that's happening in my backyard. So it's actually live news. It's one of the first things I've seen where you can actually watch it live. Dave's buying something. Good job. Or just cashing out.
Yeah, about that ES right at that pivot point.
There you go. Good time. Yeah, that's I think this is a 50. Yeah, that 50 moving average is that usually definitely holds up on both sides, whether it's support or resistance. So that's a good spot to get out. I like it.
Just got out.
And it's also right at VWAP. So there you go. Funny how things work. Good morning, Andre. Good to see you.
They do a line. Good morning, Andre.
Quick reminder for anyone tuning in after the fact is Dave's Wealth Masterclass is later this afternoon. So if you haven't heard me, try to make sure I get the news out. It is noon Central, 1 Eastern later today. So don't miss that.
Yeah, got some good
questions
stuff.
And answers.
Good stuff coming. Yeah.
Or I should say, bring your questions and Dave will do his best to give you an answer.
Yeah, I want to do a Q&A. So definitely, guys, bring your questions with you. Absent of questions, I have a video we're going to play. We're going to do, like in school when they shut off the lights and they play the videos. The old projectors, films. I used to love that time.
It's like it's student teacher. We're going to watch a movie today.
Yeah, we're going to watch a movie today. I don't feel like teaching. I'm going to do a movie.
So speaking of those bonds, I should pull over my trading view chart and look, we're above that line and we'll see if it stays above that we were talking about last week.
Big move, yeah.
And we saw the Dixie is on the move.
Yeah, strong today. Yeah,
very strong move. We see it's up 1/3%.
It was up a little bit further. It was up over almost 1/4% there, or almost half,
right?
So yeah.
And at the same time, we see the related UUP had a decent gap up here and is now above that 25 mark pretty strongly. 25, what's the high there? If I hover over 25.15, we've hit so far today.
Yeah, I would call that a runaway gap. I mean, that's starting to look very, very bullish.
Yeah, let me zoom in on that one. Look at that as you break it out. You know, we could have another 3 horsemen, wherever they call those back to back, where we gap up into 26. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strong.
Very
bullish.
gappy lately. Yeah, there's that consolidation. What's the white coffee? Do we jump the bridge yet or jump the creek?
Yeah, it's the spring. It's the spring. And that was, well, technically it was that first green bar in March, or the end of February. End of February, I guess, would be the spring.
Kind of made that breakout and a little bit more consolidation. Now it's on the move again.
Yeah, I see, and it's kind of funny because it looks like right at the beginning of the year is when it started going up. The January low there.
Yep. Yeah, the first week was the bottom.
Interesting.
So as always, we keep an eye on many things. Just to take a quick gander. Cryptos are up today, it looks like. Well, some. Looks like XRP is moving down. XLM is moving down. Ethereum and Bitcoin are up. Lots of interesting topics. And Dave has recently shared a couple of videos. I'll put them in the members area with conversations around, you know, both sides of the ticket, whether it's Bitcoin or any cryptos and whatnot. So I think it's good for you guys to keep alert on those. So we'll definitely share those with you. A little bit of a time investment, but they are well worth, in my opinion.
Yeah, some amazing insights actually from this one guy. He put both of those videos up in the members area, and I highly encourage everybody, especially if you're into crypto, to go take a look at those. But he also had some incredible insights into gold and money and fiat and the banking system and credit and debits and social contracts. I mean, a lot of stuff was covered in that last video I sent you. Really, really key stuff. I always, when we were talking in the Wealth Masterclass the last couple of times, is why do you trade? You trade because you want to increase your purchasing power. But he gave me an insight into fiat that is pretty amazing. And I'm going to share with that insight with everybody in the Wealth Masterclass this afternoon.
Very nice. Looking forward to it. Haven't brought this one over yet, so I did want to bring this up too. This is, I think it's a first. I haven't went back and looked historically all the way, but on the daily charts, I have this on now, which equals the spreadsheet. We had a bull trap set up. And then yesterday we had a bear trap back to back. I don't know if I've ever seen that, or I know you mentioned it's pretty rare.
I haven't seen it, especially on a daily. I've seen it maybe on an hourly chart where the market has gone down and then it kind of recovered. I haven't seen it on the daily though, I don't think. I have to go back pretty far to find it.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of bull traps recently over the last few months. But now we had another one, then we had a bear trap right after it. And today we literally have no hurting right now. So that's one of the things I look at if I'm taking longs or shorts in my setups. It's like, hey, where's the hurting in the overall market? Because I want to be with the trend, with the herd. And right now it's same thing as kind of like looking at the internals. Everything's hovering around zero. So I'm less confident in trades. So I take less. So I was, you know, I'll do more of a scalp versus a couple hours or whatnot trade. So that's one thing I do look at. And I have noticed too, the NDX was full bearish hurting this morning, and it's already down to only the 4th and 5th column here. So bearish hurting is coming out of the NDX right now, but we still see it as negative sentiments with -10 supply demand. So, but the strength is pretty much at a zero.
Zero.
So I know people do ask about those, so we'll touch on that.
Yeah, zero. Yeah, pretty flat. Have you got the spreadsheet up there? We can take a quick look at the spreadsheet.
Yeah, let me grab it.
We also see that bear trap on the spreadsheet. Yeah. Yeah, so we had the bear trap, and then we had the bull trap, and then we had the bear trap. Crazy.
Just wasn't the 6th column, but it's still a trap definitely with the gap in between there. And let me scroll back to see if it's, I don't think I've seen a bear trap in quite a while initially, or just in the first place. There's one right here.
There's one there.
Yep, no bull in front of it. I highly doubt we're going to find one because it was so rare to see that happen. I was like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen them back to back like that.
Yeah, I'm already back to 2019.
There's a
Still
couple right
spotty
there in a
because,
row.
yeah, as we know, over the last year or so, we haven't seen a ton of well-formed like we did back in 2018 that we see
Yeah.
here in December. You know, that well-formed bearish herding hasn't happened a ton. And yeah, I could keep scrolling. You guys can check this out. It looks like I'm not finding any instance of that happening before. There's the closest thing to it. And I wouldn't even call that a bull trap on this side.
Yeah, there's not enough of a gap there. Yeah, I think it's extremely rare. I haven't really seen it back to back on the daily and the end of day stuff, but anyway.
I think that just shows a lot of the volatility in play now and the fluctuation, if there is potential traps on both sides. That's one
Yeah.
way I'm reading that. But we definitely see, you know, just going back to the recent on the spreadsheet here, volatility has dropped a bunch since last weekend, but we're still in the 90s, and flow is picking back up. So we'll see. And this was an interesting one too, as we have the 21 and 27 day sums are kind of at the high end still. We see that's being shaded in here. It's over 2,000, over 1,600. But the swing signal moved up. So there's a little bit of, you know, both sides of the coin there where it's saying, yeah, the swing signal is long, which is more of a longer term play. But we see when it does move, it's very accurate after the fact. So here's where we turned to black. Then it went down, as we see the down moves here, 150, 200, 300, 100 back. So one day before it came back was when it returned. So it was definitely negative. And when it finally did switch back to the up signal, it was still about 400 points down just on the Dow itself.
Yeah, watch those neutral signals on the swing signal. Kind of gives you a good idea that there's something not quite right on the bullish or the bearish side.
The other one too that I noticed yesterday that I did take a note of was, we don't see this very often, but it was a mixed day where the SPX was down and the Dow was up. And we had a -5 on supply and demand from a daily standpoint. So there was actually selling happening on an advance in the Dow.
Right.
So it doesn't, that's one of the things to keep an eye on, which leads to, you know, it's flirting with, or it's a clue to that the next day may be lower because they're already selling even though the price was higher. And what do we see today? The Dows are, you know, that's Dow's down 50 points right now. It was down a little bit lower, especially after making yet another all-time high yesterday.
Right.
So just more things to keep in mind as you're watching. And we see another look back at the internals. It is kind of getting its act together, stair stepping up. So we see that reflecting in the markets moving slightly higher. I haven't changed this at all from a couple weeks ago when I made the bubble with the SPY VIX that we do keep an eye on. We broke 20 for a day or so. It was up to 21 on the SPY VIX indicator.
Huh.
We'll see if we hit into this bubble, if we have a downturn or not. Not a prediction, but it's just one of those comparing the previous one when it happened. If we break 25 on this ratio, this is a similar percentage example of what the drop could be, just like it was last time we had this major divergence. So I'm still keeping my eye on that. If it does break 25, I'll definitely send out info or let you guys know. But it's not like it's a deal breaker if it doesn't hit 25. That's one thing to keep in mind too.
Yeah, if the divergence holds up, and it looks like it's getting the divergence seems to be more and more pronounced as the Dow goes higher and the SPY goes higher. So, I mean, you know, when it stretches, so it's like a rubber band. It's gonna snap back pretty hard. So be careful out there, especially in I mean, not financial advice at all, but you know, in your portfolio, if you're long-term stuff. You know, we may see a little bit higher. I've got targets on the SPX at 4,000 and 33.6 on the Dow. At that point, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna go to cash pretty much. No long-term stuff. I think we're gonna have a pullback here.
And it's not like you're going to be hurting yourself. You're just protecting yourself.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the US dollar moving higher. So, you know.
Any questions from you, Andre, Curtis? Or you're waiting for your questions for the Wealth Masterclass later today? I think you guys are both in it. And if anyone can't attend live, I have sent out emails. You can always email us. I'll do my best to get them all answered. I'll present them to Dave if for some reason you can't join on the live, so you can catch it on the recording. There is that too. So if you say, hey, whatever's going on, you got a meeting, you got, life is in the way at 1 o'clock Eastern, shoot me an email, shoot me a Slack message, however you want to send me a question for Dave, and we'll get it asked. Andre says, not excited about crypto, still right.
It's just this idea that, I've seen the fluctuations back and forth. I haven't seen really any indication that it's going to go into a bull run. VET hit my target. I had 10 cents on VET, hit it. It's pulled back. It's at 8.9 cents now. I'm kind of liking a couple of coins, but I really don't want to say anything, because I think that, that relationship between the dollar, the DXY, and crypto has been broken. We've seen the dollar going higher. We've seen crypto kind of holding and sometimes rallying. So that relationship is no longer. The market changes all the time, and you really need to you have to understand what the relationships are between the different assets. And that relationship has been broken. What is crypto actually closer to now in relationship? And that's stocks. So if we think that we're really, really close to a top in stocks, which I do believe we are seeing and we're experiencing right at this moment, then if we do go into a decline in stocks, we're going to see a decline in crypto. So I'm not really thrilled about the valuations in crypto. Well, I don't even know how to value crypto, to be honest, because the majority of the tokens and coins just don't have any use case yet. I mean, there have been experiments, there's been trials, there have been people who have tested it. Ethereum has, I think, a head start on a lot of the utility in cryptocurrencies, because it can be used for smart contracts. It's used now for NFTs. It's used for, other things. But I just don't see the massive utility in real world applications that were promised 3 to 4 years ago when I got into it. It's still not there. We know XRP is being used for cross-border payments, but they have diminished tremendously. And now that the SEC is going after them for this stuff, I think there's a lot of overhang. People who bought, like the rally in November, December, people bought at the highs. They're trapped. As soon as it starts going up, I see it, being sold. People want to get out.
And one good point to remember too is, obviously, yes, it's not advice, but it's always just good sound investment strategies. Is if you are interested in it and if you do like it, that's absolutely your opinion. We're all speculative one way or another, whether it's long-term or short-term. That's what this is about, and increasing your purchasing power long-term, as Dave mentioned. But when you start talking about crypto, it's a good point. Yeah, if you do want to dabble with it, do it, with 1%, with less than 1% of your total wealth. So if it does go up in smoke, you're not hurt by it. I see too many people putting in way too much money because they want to be the cowboy that gets the 1,000% returns, and they see people posting things, and that's just setting yourself up for potential failure. Never put that many eggs in one basket, no matter what it is, whether it's futures, commodities, crypto, stocks, bonds, you name it. Crypto is just another potential asset basket that you can use for speculative trading, and keep it appropriate for what your risk tolerance is what I would say.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's almost irresponsible for some people on Twitter and elsewhere to state that they have 100% of their net worth in cryptocurrencies, but it's close. It's close to irresponsible.
Yeah, they're just baiting you to do it to get it to price go higher so they can sell it, and you have no idea. There's no regulations around people saying things, so people, they go after that type of emotional activity, so they understand how the human mind works. So just pay attention to that and keep that in mind at all times.
Yeah, you see a guy on crypto Twitter says, "Oh my gosh, I just increased my net worth in cryptocurrency, or my allocation of cryptocurrencies from X% of my net worth to XX% of my net worth. And you know he's a smart guy. And so you not doing your own due diligence, decide to follow along, but you have no idea that, you know, his net worth might be $100 million. And if he puts $10 million in it, it's 10%. Yeah, it's the XX% of his net worth, but he is selling. Maybe when he sells, he's not going to tell you. So he's saying, yeah, I did buy this or I bought that. You got to be really careful on crypto Twitter not to follow these guys who are saying, yeah, I bought the dip this morning. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's no disclosure requirements. And also there's no disclosure requirements when he sells. So, you know, just be awful careful out there. I think there's, and I think that's one reason why I think eventually regulations are going to come down to disclosures, especially for those in the public space.
Definitely. All right. Well, it feels like we're getting close to the top here. Oh, Curtis has got something here. Dave says he's at a stage in his life where he's trying to figure out where to roll his 401k plan. It has declined in the last month on the 401k. Can we discuss this in the wealth class? Yeah, we absolutely can. I think that's a good choice for that.
Sure, I can give you some general guidelines. Obviously, I don't know your personal situation, so I can't give you personal financial advice, but I would tell you what I would do.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely related to that, you know, long-term investing, 401ks, retirement programs. That's a great question to pose in the Wealth Masterclass. So we'll definitely cover that, Curtis. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. No, we're kind of holding. Yeah, we're kind of holding here. We got the next level up there at 39.50. It seems like once we broke down through 39.50 on the ES, we just kept going lower. I'm surprised it actually broke 39.50. I thought 39.50 would hold, but it didn't.
Yeah, we see it had a tiny little pause overnight when it hit the center person pivot because it was previous support overnight. But then, yeah, the bottom kind of dropped out and we went down to the next level here and it's bounced off of that one. So it's playing person pivot pong, triple P. We have the triple P days. We have triple P days.
Remember Pong, the video game?
Can't never forget it.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, you're welcome, Curtis. Well, I think with that, we'll probably wrap her up. We'll get ready for this afternoon's Wealth Masterclass. So once again, we'll catch you guys there. Dave, as always, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insights, and we try to help as many people as possible. So follow us wherever you can, Twitter, Facebook. We're getting more active at as much places because we know there's different audiences out there. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll look forward to chatting with you the next time.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan. We'll see you guys this afternoon.
See you guys.